Typically, when we return from a trip, we find ourselves sitting on our friend's couch, drinking a beer, and telling them all about our most recent adventure.
We thought we would actually sit on your couch virtually and share some of our stories, our adventures, and the videos that we took during the adventure. Are you here now, honey?
Okay, I'm here.
You're sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
We commonly get asked a lot of the same questions about all of our trips that we're on. So we thought we'd put together a list of them and use those questions as a way to tell you about this trip.
This video is for you if you are Camino curious or if you're just curious about other adventures that might fuel your wanderlust. So if you are ready, why don't you grab a beverage of choice and join us as we share some adventures about the Portuguese Camino.
So I think a cheers is in order. While we're talking, think about what questions you might have and maybe write them down. Just in case we don't answer it, then you can pop them in the comments below. And since you're commenting, you might as well subscribe. We're still a small channel, so we sure appreciate all the support we can get. Where did we go again?
Portugal.
What did we do in Portugal, Matt?
We walked on the Portuguese Camino.
Where did we start?
We started in Porto in Portugal. So what exactly is a Camino?
A Camino is a network of long-distance walking routes across Europe that all lead to Santiago de Compostela in Spain. For more than 1,000 years, people have walked these paths as pilgrims. Today, people walk a Camino for many reasons: spiritual, personal, or simply for the experience of traveling slowly on foot. Each route passes through towns, countryside, and historic landscapes. Portuguese Camino is especially popular because it offers a balance many walkers are looking for. It's well marked and generally less crowded than the famous French Way, while still being the second most popular Camino overall. That means that even during the slower seasons, there's still plenty of services available for those walking day after day. We chose the coastal route, or what we thought was the coastal route, but turned out to be the littoral route. It's confusing. The coastal route is typically a couple of kilometers inland, but it's where all of the services for pilgrims are. And we walked on the littoral route, which translates into littoral, which parallels the Atlantic Ocean. The other option we could have taken was the central route. It is the most popular, and it's entirely inland. It passes through historic cities and forests, and apparently there's a lot more hills on it. The other option we could have chosen was to start anywhere in Portugal, and as long as we generally walked with an end goal of Santiago de Compostela, we could still call it Portuguese Camino. That said, most people choose one of the official routes. Regardless of the route chosen, most pilgrims hope to receive the Compostela, which is the official certificate of completion. To qualify for the Compostela, walkers must complete at least the final 100 kilometers on foot and carry a pilgrim credential. This credential, and the stamps in it, acts as proof of the distance you walked.
How long did it take you to walk your Camino?
We started on September 18th and we finished on October 6th. So my rough math says about 18 days. How far did we walk each day?
The days varied quite a bit, but we would walk typically between 18 and 22 kilometers per day.
I think our longest day was 24 or 26 kilometers, I think was our longest day.
That sounds about right. What was the weather like?
We had really, really, really good weather, actually. I think unseasonably warm weather, maybe? I'm not sure. But actually, on day one, we rooted ourselves so we could go to a decathlon store to buy a rain poncho to try and, just in case it was raining, we didn't want to carry our heavy rain jackets that we had with us. And I also had my new fancy umbrella that you can attach to your backpack to keep the rain off. But in fact, I ended up using the umbrella to keep the sun off. Well, I brought the umbrella because, again, I thought there'd maybe be a lot of rain. Now we're dealing with a lot of sun. Seems to work, though. And we only used the poncho 2 times, I think. It's raining, so we have our new, very effective rain ponchos on.
Work great.
The problem is we're matchy-matchy again. Which is a bit of a problem, but that's okay.
You look fantastic.
You look good. Did you have to carry everything on your back?
So we were only carrying the essentials that we needed. We had a couple of days worth of clothes and a toothbrush and a Visa card. So the stuff that we were carrying was not very much.
I think you might have won the award for the smallest backpack on the Camino, for sure.
Well, I mean, your other option is there is a luggage transfer services. In fact, there's a couple of them. So you can arrange to have transport anything you'd like, either daily or every day, that will carry your luggage to your next destination. You just get to your hostel or your hotel, wherever you're going, and it will be there. It's quite miraculous. It works really well.
It's funny, you could always tell the people that use the service because we'd pass them and they smelled like clean laundry. It's a little bit concerning what we smelled like because we did not use that service.
All the rest of our stuff, though, was just stored at the very beginning of the Camino. We left it in Porto and just had to route back there to go pick it all up.
Where did you stay? Hostels, hotels, or albergues? We actually stayed in a nice mix of hostels, private hostels that you could book in advance. And at the end of the day, we're here. Casa de Adro, Hostel.
Yeah, I guess we do.
I think it's in your name.
Live in this hostel that's got a double bed in it. It's perfect for two people. Look at the size of it. It's like a full-on queen.
Can you show off the curtain for me?
So then when you're ready to, whatever you're going to do for the evening, you close the curtain and there's nothing left, just private everywhere.
A hotel. I don't think we had any
We had an Airbnb.
We had an Airbnb. I don't think we stayed in any proper hotels. And we did stay actually in a lot of albergues, which I feel like we should tell people what an albergue is.
Okay. Albergues are they are the hostels for the pilgrim walkers, if you will. Most of them are public, and consequently they're very affordable. And they run, at the time we were there, they would cost people €10 a night per bed. So that actually is very affordable for a place to stay in Europe.
Oh, and my favorite thing about the municipal albergues, you don't get a lot for your €10. You have to be there, well, before it fills up. And so sometimes they were opened at 1. So that meant we had to walk pretty quick to get sure we were going to have a bed. And then they kick you out at 8, which was a problem because the sun wasn't up. Well, the hostel kicked us out at 8 this morning, and it's finally light enough that you can actually see. And this, I think, is just really helpful. The sign there says Santiago is that way. Thank God, or we'd be lost.
Just such an early morning. It was pitch black as we left.
But my favorite are the head net sheets they give you. Can you tell me about your sheet that you're putting on the bed?
Well, it's nothing like a hairnet to sleep on top of, but it's a lot neater than not having one, because these rubbery things you kind of stick to. Yeah, they're kind of uncomfortable, but they're a basic covering for the mattress, and they're good enough to spend a night on. It's unfortunate you can't book them. Well set up for those of us that are being fiscally responsible. And you have to have a credential or the passport in order to be able to stay in those albergues. We also each carried, well, I carried a liner from the beginning that I could sleep in. So that was helpful in those albergues because then you actually had something to keep you warm. And then 2 people we met downloaded their liner to Matt because they didn't stay in those municipal albergues. They stayed in places that actually gave you sheets. Oh, I dream. Well, we had nice sheets when we were in the B&Bs. They're quite nice. What was the hardest part of the walk? Did you have any blisters or injuries? The hardest part for me was it didn't quite have the community feel as the big Camino from France to Santiago. And so I think the hardest part for me was I was missing the socializing with other people that were walking on the Camino at about our same pace. Yeah, we were pretty lucky, actually. I don't think either of us had any blisters. My feet were pretty sore on some of the long days, but I mean, that's par for the course when you're walking on pavement in the heat. Reached the stage of it's really hot out. My feet really hurt. But we got about 6K to go after a stop, hopefully, in about a kilometer. And then we can put our feet up and relax. Oh, road walking. It's brutal. And unfortunately, my leg kind of went on strike a little bit for a couple of days, but I think that's just due to too many birthdays on my knees and the hike we had done before that. So, but otherwise, I think we actually fared pretty well physically on the trip. The other one I would say was a challenge. There's a lot of wind when we were there. I don't know if that's normal. We did a great deal of walking right along the coast. So some breezes are to be expected and they're quite nice, but we had the odd time where there's a very steady wind. Well, it makes it more challenging to hear. It's, blowing those little fine sand bits here and there through the air. We noticed the wind, and that for me was a little bit of a challenge too. For me, probably the biggest challenge on this trip was the night I got consumed by bed bugs. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we knew better. Like the Google reviews said this one albergue had bed bugs in it, but I was like, how bad can they be? Oh my God, they were so
They were so bad. And like most of my body was okay, but it was the bites on my feet. So every step that would just irritate them, which would make them incredibly itchy. I think I had 2 or 3 sleepless nights before we finally found a pharmacy that I could get some sort of different antihistamine and figure that out. Good news, I mean, it can happen anywhere, but it only happened for us on the one night. And of course, somebody who also slept in the albergue, I'm sure was also eaten, but he didn't react at all. I reacted enough for the both of us.
I don't think I taste very good. So, what are some favorite sections or towns along the route and why? I really enjoy Porto, where we started. Porto is a larger Portuguese town and has an airport in it. It's well known. It's where port, the booze, was invented, and it's got this wonderful old city to it. It's got this wonderful waterfront. It's got some great history to it. There's excellent food. There's just a wonderful vibe between the visitors that come to enjoy Porto and the folks that live and make the town happening. It's very dynamic. I quite like it there.
There was a town called Redondela, I think.
Redondeia.
How do you say it again?
Redondeia.
Okay, how he said it, much better Spanish accent than I have. And it was within the last 100 kilometers. So it was actually a really busy town. It was my favorite for a couple of reasons. First, we stayed in a municipal albergue that was like in an old building. It was a beautiful building, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think there was 20 people in the room and not very many snorers. But right when we got there at 1 o'clock, we went to the pub just behind and sat at the bar. And of course, we had our afternoon beer in celebration of arriving there. We met this really cool guy, this local dude, and he had as much English as we have Spanish. And we ended up just having a lovely conversation and learning about his life on the railway. And, he was curious where we were from. And it was just one of those really neat local interactions that I really liked.
But this was an interesting gentleman, and he actually did a brilliant job of exemplifying Spain's take that people in Spain work to live, they do not live to work.
And then when we left there, we went to the Irish pub because nothing says redondela or however you pronounce it in Spanish, like sitting in an Irish pub. We spent a lot of time at that Irish pub because we were right on the street, and so all the pilgrims would walk by, and we joked that it was like we were holding court. We probably had conversations with about 10 or 15 people that day,
It was a fun afternoon.
and I think you went and tried to get a stamp twice in our passports at the end of the night, and the guy was like, "I think I already stamped it for you." It was pretty cool.
That's probably from having a second beer or
Yeah,
something. I don't
second or
know.
third beer.
So another favorite of mine was the spiritual variant. It's a beautiful boat ride. It's a little quieter. It's up in the hills a little bit. There is some more rocky ground and some steep hills, sort of steep hills to it. But I loved being in that wilderness, and there were some beautiful little villages and things that we walked through. Quite a nice way to wrap up, I don't know, 30 or 40 kilometers in there. It was quite nice.
Oh yeah, we stayed in that town Cambaro, I think it was called,
Hmm.
right on the coast, and it's definitely been restored. So there's no like power lines or whatever, and it's like a really old fishing town. We found this really cool like hovelly kind of bar and some neat restaurants, and it felt like we were walking back in time. I really really like that town. I'd go back just to go to that town for sure. The other thing highlight, and I remember this on the French way too, would be like the signage for upcoming coffee shops or
Oh yeah.
upcoming pubs, and it'd be like written on the pavement, coffee shop in 9K, coffee shop in 5K, coffee shop in 2K. And then I remember this one in particular. It was like coffee shop with like a sharp right turn and probably the steepest hill we walked on the whole Camino. We got up there and the place was just jam packed with pilgrims. And we ended up sitting at this table, and it was cool because the people who sat at the table with us were locals from the area, and they were just out for their like Saturday afternoon walk and decided to pop in for a coffee.
The place is so small because it's jam packed with people that everyone's backpacks were all lined up down the driveway because you just get rid of them. You leave them there. It's nice and safe. It's only got pilgrims that are there. And so I remember all of the backpacks lined up down the driveway. That was pretty neat.
Talk about the food. What did you eat, and was the food good?
The food in Portugal and Spain is fantastic. My favorite in Portugal is probably their francesinas. They're these wonderful sandwiches filled with delicious cuts of different kinds of meat. And then there's a lovely cheese layer over it that they melt on. And then the whole thing is bathed in a wonderful sort of a tomato bisque, if you will. And oh, it's just delicious. And there's often a poached egg or a fried egg on the top as well. It's a signature dish and not to be missed.
So, if you don't know this about me, I am a very picky eater. What gets Matt excited in terms of the food is very different from me. I eat a lot of ham and cheese sandwiches, ham and cheese croissants, and croissants. I think I fueled my trip on coffee and croissants and ham and cheese sandwiches.
Did I mention Iberian ham? They have this fantastic cuts that are only made in that corner of the of Europe, and they're just wonderful. Whether they're slices inside croissants or whether they're slices on the charcuterie trays, they're wonderful. Iberian ham is excellent.
And the good news is you can get your ham and cheese sandwich with normal boring ham, which I did because I didn't care for the Iberian ham too much.
Let's also review fish and seafood. You're right on the ocean. It's incredibly fresh. It's brought in daily. You wait to see what the daily specials are. They have a really good culinary history to both Portugal and Spain. You won't go hungry if you're a normal eater over in Portugal and Spain.
Did I mention about the ham and cheese sandwiches? Did we meet any interesting people?
There's a few people, as some of you know, you need to walk the 100 kilometers to earn your Compostela, which is your, I guess, formal way of recognizing that you've walked a Camino. You must do at least 100 kilometers to do that. So at the day we got close to 100 kilometers, of course, there's now more and more visitors that come to walk the Camino because they're only walking the 100 kilometers for 4 or 5 days. This is where we met Janet. Janet has never walked 5 miles in her entire life.
She hadn't walked more than 5 miles, but on day one she had walked 10 miles. And that, I mean, that's, I don't know how far that is in K. I'll put it on the screen. I mean, that's a fair distance. And then she only had like, 10 days to do the whole thing. So she didn't have any days off planned.
And on the first day when we ran into her, it was okay. This does not feel fantastic, but I did train a little bit. I'm sure she walked a couple of miles in her time before getting up there. But she was just a neat soul because we saw her for the next few days, and she didn't really complain about it. But you could certainly tell she was having a tough go of walking 5 miles a day.
She impressed me to no end.
Two of my favorites were Donna and Anna. These are two sisters that we met, and they were walking about the same distance per day that we were. Now, they tended to stay in fairly upscale and some nice hotels. We got lots of stories about beautiful places to stay, but they're just really good spirits. They were so keen to be on the Camino. They were so keen to be with each other, and they were happy to share with us. We spent some time walking with them occasionally, and then we'd find them on the odd evening as well. Over 2 or 3 days that we were pretty much on the same route and the same schedule, and so we spent a lot of time with them. We really enjoyed their company.
Well, and again, I mean, you got a sleeping bag liner out of them too.
Oh, it's a great deal. I really enjoyed that liner.
Another highlight for me was a woman we met on the spiritual variant, and Olivia, yeah. So the spiritual variant is like the only hill really on the route that we did. It was about 400 meters, and it was pretty steep, pretty unrelenting. But just as we crested the hill, I passed this woman. She was walking with the hugest backpack I've ever seen, and she just looked like she was hating life. Like it was not pretty, and it was pretty clear that like she just needed somebody to walk with. So I slowed my pace down, and then Matt figured out what was going on, and he slowed his pace down, and we walked with her for about 3K. It was not a long time, but it was good because there actually ended up being this really steep descent that was a little bit sketchy actually. So we helped her get down that descent. And then, I asked if I could adjust her backpack and do some things. And I mean, it was a classic case of somebody who read all the blogs, all the things about what you should take, and she had it all in her backpack. But the cool thing about it was her attitude. Like she was so proud of what she accomplished. She was going slow. She knew she was slow, but she was just unapologetic about it. And I think 3 or 4 days after we finished the Camino, she sent me a note on WhatsApp and showed me the picture of her at the cathedral. I gotta say, I was more excited to see Olivia standing there than I was for us to make it to Santiago. Okay, so did we meet the Pope when we got to Santiago?
We did not meet the Pope. In fact, nobody was there who looked religious at all by the time we got there.
And just like that, we've arrived. And
Jesus isn't here to give us a handshake or something.
and look at all these people also having arrived.
There's a beautiful cathedral. There's a large plaza out front, but nobody with any sort of statue, a pope, a canon, a cardinal, a preacher, a priest, anything. Yeah, we didn't find any when we got there, but it is a beautiful cathedral.
We were both really keen to finish a little contest we had started. Well, arriving at the cathedral was an important moment of this journey. What I'm about to show you is perhaps the most important part. What's happening, Matt? Why is this important?
Well, it's time to play the card game. It's all about who is carrying it all the way to Canada.
Well, I mean, no, not all the way to Canada, just the last 500 meters to our hostel. The loser has to carry it. So Matt is just going to keep it in his backpack where it's been for the last few days.
She is a little cocky. I'm pretty sure I won't be carrying it. 6 for buns is a does. Thank you for coming out. The fat lady has sung. Pick up the cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I only needed 5.
Unjust. I think you cheated. I hate this game.
Another interesting experience, depending on your background and history. They offer Mass every day in about 3 or 4 different languages so that all the pilgrims, if they wish, can attend a Mass. So we attended a Spanish Mass inside that cathedral, which was incredible to watch. You get to see all the pomp and circumstance. And the folks are just like the movies. They wear the frocks. They do all that stuff with the wine and the bread. And they didn't have the full-on choir, but the girl they do have, man, could she sing. And they amplified her. And inside the cathedral, both the organ and her voice, it just soars inside there. It was quite beautiful to hear it.
Yeah, it was really neat actually. I mean, I've been to a lot of Catholic masses, but it was neat to be one. I didn't have to attend to what he was saying because my Spanish isn't that good, but it was just neat to watch the people and think about this, like way back in the day, the pilgrims would come to mass and people have been doing this for thousands and thousands and thousands of years and it was just neat to sit amongst those that have been before us.
So would you do this again or perhaps a different route?
Oh, for sure. I love how my body feels at the end of a Camino, walking every day, and just the routine is really great. I think specifically for the Portuguese Camino, I would probably bring a bike to do this route. I think if I was going to do this route again, but there's other routes that I think I would like to do again.
Yeah, and for me, I would absolutely like to walk one again, but I would just choose a different route. Again, we walked the coastal route, but there is the central route and the littoral, and I don't know what all there is there. But I would choose a different route, but I would walk it again, sure.
What did we miss? Did we answer your question? If not, put it in the comments below because we do read them all and we promise that we'll respond to it.
Overall, the Camino is a fantastic experience. It was a great way to spend a couple of weeks. It's a great way to work out, and you meet some interesting people along the way. I've had a great time while out there.
Oh, Matt, I 100% agree with you. I mean, being in Spain, being in Portugal, really great places to be on the planet. And, walking, like I said before, for 2.5 weeks is good for my body, good for the soul. It's 100%. It was a great experience.
Well, there were a few things, though, that didn't quite go according to what our expectations might have been. So,
Yeah, but that's a subject for a different video, I think. In fact, that's the next video we're going to post. So stay tuned, keep watching the channel so you can find out that didn't actually align with our expectations.
well, and we'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe. And again, if you've got other comments, put them at the bottom.
Thanks as always for watching. You can't hold it there. We commonly get asked a lot of this.
No, come on. Into your wanderlust lifestyle.
No, that's not
Wasn't that it?
No.
Cancel that whole thing. We're going to do a retake on that. Compostela de Santiago. What's the fucking town called?
Okay. Matt, where did we go? What
did you want there? I don't
Stop saying because I can't use it then. Okay.
So, darling, what actually is?
Which is the end of the question.